I'm doing a voiceover on this because I think it would be helpful to explain what I'm doing and also what I've done in the past. And some of it can be a little bit slow. So here I am. I've led Seymour up to the lowest pedestal, and I'm not pulling or putting pressure on him, but after doing a session at Liberty with no gear, I felt that the gear and the line was kind of like an arrow pointing from him to me to give him a little bit more clear direction about where I wanted him to go and what I wanted him to do, because I'd done a session prior and he kind of danced left and right and I danced left and right, and I felt this might be a little bit clearer for him. But I'm not pressuring him or pulling him. All the gear has been counter conditioned so that there's no negative emotional response to the gear. I don't use the gear to get behaviour. Here you can see him starting to do a little dance, which is what he'd done in the session prior a few days before without any gear. Every time he moved his foot, I marked him by saying good and gave him food, and he started to do a little dance. He'd lift a foot, I'd mark him, give him food, he'd lift the other foot. He started pawing at the pedestal. He eventually stepped up on it. So in this session, I'm hoping it'll go a little bit quicker. And here he is starting to lift his foot. I'm marking and feeding him for that. He's pawing, he's exploring the pedestal because there's a tyre and then there's stones in the middle. So there's different textures with his hoof, and you may not be able to see it, but he's exploring with his left foot, which has been a hoof that's had a lot of problems, severe abscessing, seedy toe. He's still missing a lot of hoof wall from seedy toe resections. And there I mark him as he puts his foot down, and then he commits to it and puts his weight on that foot, and then the other foot follows, and he's fully standing on the stones on the pedestal, which is fantastic. And obviously I'm marking and continually feeding. And then I got a bit adventurous and thought, I wonder if he can actually step off it forwards and step up with the back foot. And then I realised that's probably asking a bit too much in the second session. It was worth a try, but I changed my mind and thought, no, actually, we've done a bit of work with backing up. I think it would be best to just say, hey, would you like to back up to step off the pedestal? Which he did really nicely. He kind of explored a little bit with his foot, and then he stepped off. So lots of reinforcement for the stepping off as well as the stepping up. So now I just use my lead rope to cue him to walk off, and we just a little circuit around, which I cut out of the video, and then we approach the pedestal again. And I'm expecting that this time, for the third time, it should go a lot quicker, but we never know. It's always important to be generous. You can see he stops, he's thinking, he's looking at me, he's sort of looking at me thinking, well, I don't know what he's thinking, but he's sort of waiting for more information. So I'll give him a moment, and then I might feed him or try and lure him a little bit with the food to give him a bit more information. It's always nice to give them a bit of time and space to see what they offer or what they might think. And there I am kind of luring, saying, hey, it's just this thing again. And he's already got that left foot up. He's experimenting a little bit, but he commits to it pretty quickly, which is pretty awesome for a donkey who's had a lot of chronic hoof issues and is potentially quite nervous about where he's putting his feet. So he's standing up there really nicely, and I'm feeding him and praising him. give him a little pat, and then say, okay, let's step back off again, because you've learned how to back up just recently, so that's a fairly hot behaviour as well. I was a little bit concerned about him standing on the edge. I didn't want him to trip, but he adjusted and he stepped back really nicely and solidly. And I just got the feeling we'd already done a lot of training that he was getting quite full as far as how much food he'd had. And then being a greedy trainer, I thought I'll just take the gear off and see if he can just pop up on the pedestal one more time quickly without any gear. See how quick he can do it. Because every time they do it, it's going to get better and quicker every time. And sure enough, there he was, being a little star donkey, stepping up so quickly and nicely without any gear. So he's willingly offering the behaviour, and it was really lovely, and I was really happy with him there. And it was super cute because little Patty came rushing over and wanted to get involved, and Seymour was not impressed. But that's okay because I was just finishing up then. And of course Seymour has to tell Patty off. So this is my training session. There's not allowed to be any gate crashes in my training session, in my party. So I give Seymour his end of session food, and little Patty rushes after me, hopefully.